For future XRP news and other cryptocurrency news in general, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel. Everything discussed in this video is summarized from the coin market cap. Now look at this. In a daring change to crypto policy, Trump is predicted to outlaw CBDC. With US President Donald Trump in charge, the chances of a US central bank digital currency, or CBDC, are all but gone. During the 2024 New Hampshire campaign trail, Trump, a staunch opponent of CBDC, stated that he would never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency because he thought it would give the government total control over your funds. Trump made the promise early in the campaign in January 2024, but there is little indication that he has since changed his mind. A CBDC has also been vehemently opposed by prominent members of the Republican-controlled Congress and leading contenders for Trump's cabinet. However, U.S. policymakers continue to prioritize the spread of digital currencies. With strong bipartisan support and without a digital dollar, stable currency use might increase dramatically under the incoming administration. Jeff Kendrick, Standard Chartered's global head of digital assets research, claims that under Trump, the reliable cryptocurrency CBDC is extinct in the US. He said to Cointelegraph, "Long live the stablecoin." Their decision to switch to a private stablecoin is entirely up to them. In actuality, laws pertaining to stable currency are already in place. The Clarity for Payment Stablecoins Act of 2023 was introduced by Representative Patrick McHenry in the House of Representatives, while the Lummis-Gillibrand Payment Stablecoin Act was introduced in the Senate by Republican Senator Cynthia Lummis of Wyoming and Democrat Kirsten Gillibrand. The industry has been contending that these ideas will provide the regulatory protection it needs to prosper. Associated pro-Bitcoin lawmakers flood Congress as partisan impasse looms. Some have conjectured that new stablecoin limitations would be enacted soon, since politicians from both parties will have to retake their seats in 2026. "I think a stablecoin bill that creates regulation will be passed in the upcoming months under Trump," Kendrick said. The two largest stablecoins, Tether and USDC, will then gain more legitimacy as more TradFi players are expected to begin producing stablecoins in the US. The clear privacy concerns with CBDC and the challenges central banks are facing in convincing the public of their benefits are two major factors driving the move to private stablecoins. CBDC raises concerns about privacy and government oversight. The Trump administration plans to remove many government employees and replace them with appointees who share its views, according to reports from the Washington Post and Reuters. People who are dedicated to protecting the rights of the American people, prioritizing America, and making the most efficient use of working. Men's and women's tax dollars will have a place in the Trump administration, Brian Hughes, an administration spokesperson, told Reuters. This speech reflects Republican mistrust of government involvement in the financial sector and their desire to deregulate the industry more broadly. It follows that the focus should be on CBDCs, which already cause privacy concerns for the broader public. According to John Kiff, a digital currency specialist and former senior financial sector expert at the International Monetary Fund, central banks are hesitant to provide users with the anonymity and privacy they desire because they are obedient to financial integrity laws and regulations, such as those that prohibit money laundering and the financing of terrorism, as reported by Cointelegraph. The public doesn't seem to agree, which is preventing CBDC from progressing, even if the European Central Bank and other developers have stated that privacy is a major priority. Only 4 of the 169 CBDC projects currently in development have been launched, according to CBDC Tracker. Trump himself said that if you had a CBDC, the government might steal your money and you wouldn't even realize it was gone. Indeed, Trump's campaign was mostly characterized by scathing condemnation of a deep state government that was restricting Americans' liberties and secretly controlling their lives. Trump and the Republicans are unlikely to modify their convictions on this issue, Kiff said. "I believe that most Republican arguments against a retail CBDC are based on the slippery slope notion. Therefore, even if a retail CBDC were completely private and unfettered by any possible government regulation, future governments might use it as a weapon against customers. Does anyone need a CBDC? Following years of investigation, central banks have determined that CBDC offers clear advantages. The purported benefits, according to Kiff, include extending financial inclusion and reducing transaction costs for both customers and businesses. These benefits, however, cannot be explained by central banks. Kiff says this can be explained in a number of ways. First, in most developed countries, credit and debit cards, as well as fintech platforms and fast Payment systems are already quick and relatively easy ways to make payments. At a hearing of the U.S. Senate Committee on Finance on January 16, Scott Bessent, Trump's own cabinet nominee for Treasury Secretary, said, "I see no reason for the U.S. to have a central bank digital currency. I believe that countries who have no other investment options would benefit most from a central bank digital money." Many of these countries are acting in this way out of necessity, unlike the US, where you can preserve a variety of extremely safe US assets as long as you have US dollars. This suggests that in order to succeed, retail CBDC needs to provide something different from what is now available. Reduced or no fees to merchants is one of those indirect benefits. To users, that is hard to promote, Kiff said. He added that there are other ways to get these advantages than using retail CBDC. Other options include stablecoins backed by central bank reserves and tokenized deposits. Potential for CBDC. Other major economies are likely to continue with their plans for CBDC development, even though the concept of a digital dollar is doomed. China's digital yuan is already being used sparingly, while the European Central Bank pursues its cautious but optimistic plan for a digital euro. This won't be true for everyone. According to Kendrick, Trump's dislike of CBDCs likely simply means that they don't gain as much traction internationally as they could have otherwise, making it more likely that smaller economies will give up on their projects. Some industry analysts believe that Trump's policies could reduce American competitiveness, and that the country needs to make greater investments to establish a CBDC in order to stay ahead of the competition. Kiff said, "I've never understood these arguments as they relate to retail CBDC. In my opinion, the United States should continue to lead the way in wholesale CBDC developments, especially those aimed at lowering costs and facilitating cross-border payments. In this sense, wholesale CBDC is merely one option, but the Fed shouldn't be prevented from taking into account alternative possibilities. The central bank digital currency, or CBDC, is one type of digital currency that the government issues. The Federal Reserve would oversee and support it, and the U.S. government would fully back it. This could bring benefits including greater financial inclusion and be utilized in place of current payment systems.